All right, so today is a fun video. We had Mike Israetel critique a couple of my YouTube videos. Now, this guy runs a channel called Renaissance Periodization, and he breaks down different training styles and different experts, and he breaks down what he agrees with and what he disagrees with. Now, interestingly enough, there was only really a few critiques he had with two of my videos. One was the Real Bruce Wayne video, which most people have seen that video, and the other one was my video on naturally increasing testosterone. So in today's video, we're gonna go through all of his objections. And I watched the video, it was a hilarious video.
I can tap it 3 times a day, every day.
Yo, tap that shit, Greg.
He didn't really have that much to critique, and he gave me a lot of credit in different things like some of my technique and some of my ab training. So let's get down to it. So the first video he critiqued was the Real Bruce Wayne video. Now, at the time, I was 24 years old. I was seeing incredible transformations on my program. I wanted to transform more lives. I knew how good the system was, and I wanted to get it to the masses. So I took the American Psycho style monologue explaining my philosophy on training, on nutrition, and I gave it this Bruce Wayne visual. So it was a fun, hard-hitting video that was over the top. Now, if I could go back in time, I would give my 24-year-old self a massive high five because it took some balls to put a video like that together. Now, crazy enough, this video may have had the biggest impact in all of fitness in the last 10 years, and I'll explain why, okay? This video has 3 million views. When I asked my customers, 25% of them signed up to a program after watching that video, okay? So this video led to thousands and thousands and thousands of people joining a program and transforming. The reason this video had such a massive impact on fitness was so many people felt disenfranchised. They were sick and tired of hearing the same advice. You gotta eat every few hours, you gotta be in the gym 5-6 days a week, you gotta put in all this work. And here I was saying, I lift weights 3 days a week, I skip breakfast, I eat chocolate, steak, potatoes, and I look like a movie star. So many people were like, I can do that. I can hit the gym 3 days a week. I can eat steak, potatoes, and chocolate. If I can do that and transform, sign me the hell up. Because so many people, and this is the real thing we're solving in fitness. This is something that most exercise scientists mess up. The real thing we're solving in fitness is behavioral change. How do we change people's behaviors? The research is clear. Invariably, 90% of people that do a diet, that lose some weight, 2 years later, they're right back to where they started. My system transforms people, and 2 years later, guess what? They're in even better shape. So it's about putting together a system that people love to follow that enriches their life. Okay, so let's get into Mike's first objection, which is that intermittent fasting doesn't actually improve mental focus. So he doesn't necessarily disagree with that, but he says that some research shows it does, and some shows it doesn't. So it's really individual, and I actually kind of agree with that. Now, at the time of making this video, intermittent fasting was very, very fringe. I was coming out of a period where if you told people you're doing intermittent fasting, they would tell you, you're crazy, that's dumb, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, you're gonna lose muscle, you're gonna gain fat, and your brain's not gonna work. And so the reality is, when you fast, your brain works. Who would have thought? How would our hunter-gatherer ancestors survive through harsh conditions of famine, of stress, of not being able to find food if their brain stopped working when they were hungry? They would not have gotten here. So in the event of a fast, your brain actually increases norepinephrine, which can actually enhance mental focus. Now, what's very, very powerful is there's certain brain benefits with fasting. The first one, of course, is that fasting can actually increase neuroplasticity in the brain. As well, fasting can increase BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it also can reduce brain inflammation. So fasting is very effective. Now, besides all that, if you're used to waking up, cooking, cleaning, preparing foods, that can slow you down. When you wake up and you can start work immediately, you don't have to think about food, it is an advantage, okay? So you get really, really good productivity. And some people, myself included, and again, I want you to test this for yourself, I found I would get hyper-focused to work. When I'm fasting, I have a cup of coffee, I wanna work. Some people will experience this effect where they're more sensitive to dopamine. They're more sensitive to work-reward pathway. And so fasting can enhance that. Andrew Huberman has talked about some of these benefits with fasting and dopamine sensitivity, increasing dopamine. And so it makes you wanna work, right? It makes you wanna work hard. So fasting can have very, very cool benefits. Now, I want you to test drive this for yourself, but absolutely fasting does not impair mental focus unless you're fasting for long periods of time. But I recommend waking up and fasting for the first 5 hours of the day. Okay, now we're going into a bigger point, which is that he does not believe that fasting has any inherent value beyond simply calorie restriction. Now, the first thing to really state is that fasting is the ultimate expression of calorie restriction, okay? When you're fasting, okay? You're not taking in any food. So your body is in a more intense period of calorie restriction. If you're just simply eating less, it's more arbitrary. In fact, most people are really bad at eating less calories. Most people underestimate how much they're eating by 50%, okay? So if you really want to put someone in calorie deficit, the easiest way to do that is simply say fast until 2 p.m. or once a week fast until 6 p.m., right? So fasting is a very effective way to absolutely put someone into a calorie deficit. Now, the issue I have with Mike is that he's actually correct. A lot of the benefits come from calorie restriction, but guess what? Calorie restriction is finite, okay? Once you cut down to 10% body fat or whatever your goal is and you get to your goal weight, you can't do it anymore. If you do calorie restriction forever, you will wither away and you will starve to death. Sure, if someone's 20% body fat or 30 pounds overweight, yes, doing calorie restriction is very, very effective. But what if someone's 6 feet tall, 160 pounds? Obviously doing calorie restriction is gonna be a net negative because they're gonna start to lose too much muscle and they're gonna become severely underweight. So by fasting, you can actually eat at maintenance calories on a weekly or daily basis and still get a lot of those benefits of calorie restriction. So fasting can improve insulin sensitivity. IF has been shown to reduce insulin resistance. It can improve heart health markers. It enhances cellular repair. It has potential protection against chronic diseases. It improves brain function. In some animal studies, fasting has been shown to increase lifespan. So there are a lot of benefits you get by fasting beyond simply calorie restriction. And again, comes back to my last point. Once you get to your goal weight, 170 pounds, calorie restriction is out of the cards unless you just gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. So fasting allows you to exploit and experience those benefits without having to wither away. Now, there's an interesting subgroup called the cronies, which essentially they eat at a 30% deficit. They eat about 70% of the energy requirements in order to potentially capture on these benefits of life extension. And guess what? As you can imagine, they all look like toothpicks. They don't look healthy. They don't look strong and vibrant. And in actuality, in order to have a long lifespan, you need muscle tissue. And so if you severely undereat for months and years, you will wither away and you'll lose precious muscle tissue that will keep you strong in old age. So point number 3 is that Mike believes that eating 4 meals that are high protein is superior than eating 2 or 3 meals. Now, this was built over a 2018 study by Brad Schoenfield and Alan Aragon showing that 4 meals evenly spread out are optimal for gaining muscle. However, newer research from 2023 is showing this is not the case. In fact, there's a study titled "The Anabolic Response to Protein Ingestion During Recovery from Exercise Has No Upper Limit in Magnitude and Duration." This research demonstrates that eating larger, less frequent protein meals can be as effective as smaller, more frequent meals for stimulating MPS, muscle protein synthesis, over an extended period of time. Let's say you have a meal at 8 p.m. and you have a pound of meat, which is about 100 grams of protein, okay? You have some potatoes and butter and some broccoli. How long do you think you're gonna have amino acids in your bloodstream for? 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? No. A whole food meal with protein, fats, fiber is gonna take a lot longer to digest. In fact, 100 grams of protein could take upwards of 20 hours, right? So that means you're gonna have amino acids in your bloodstream for 20 hours. So 8 p.m., you'll have amino acids in your bloodstream the next morning, even the next afternoon. And my recommendation is if you wanna eat 2 meals a day, have 2 meals a day. If you wanna have 4, have 4, but simply focus on what's most important, hitting the correct amount of calories and protein every single day. For me, I do a fast and I eat protein twice a day. You know, in the afternoon, I'll have a rich protein meal, and for dinner, I'll have my largest meal with close to 100 grams of protein every single day. Now, the 4th critique is that I have a flat butt but great upper back. In the Bruce Wayne video, I'm in my Calvin Klein underwear. True story. I actually had my full bare ass in the shower for the video, but we realized that it could get flagged and it would suck if this video we put all this time, energy, and money into got flagged. So we cut out the ass shot. I'm really pissed off about it. There's an unlisted video somewhere with my ass shot in it. Comment below, I'll hook up the video. But basically my butt was flatter then. I didn't train my legs as much. In fact, I didn't train my legs as much then. I just did a little bit of pistol squats and some calf raises once a week, okay? So my glute development was lacking. Now my glutes are much bigger and stronger, as well as my legs. I have DEXA scans. I've added significant amount of muscle to my lower body and my ass is fuller, okay? So Dr. Mike, I got a great ass now. But now I'll do like, you know, a few hard sets of Bulgarian split squats or barbell reverse lunges. I'll hit some Romanian deadlifts, some ATG work or leg extensions, calf raises, and I have a proportionate nice amount of muscle. Now, the reason I went very far on the lower leg training was when I was a teenager, I had a great physique. Then I started doing some starting strength. I started doing squats 3 times a week, heavy deadlifts, and my upper body strength really plateaued or slowed down. And I just added all this size and bulk to my lower body, and it didn't like the look. So I went too minimalist, then eventually my legs got a little bit too small, and now I'm finding that perfect middle ground to have the perfect amount of leg size. In fact, recently I was in Miami. A couple girls I knew from Toronto were in town. I took them out to shoot some guns, and I was wearing a pair of nice fitted pants. And while I was firing this Dirty Harry, they said, Greg, you got a great butt, okay? So the butt is good. All right, point number 5. I'm notorious for having a minimalist style of training. And Dr. Mike appreciates that, doing the biggest bang for your buck. And so within that lens, he was like, why are you doing overhead shoulder press? Surely an incline press would be more effective because you're still gonna work the front delt, the tricep, but you're gonna get a bit more chest involved. And I agree, if you only had one pressing movement to do, the incline press is superior than the overhead press. Now, some people, and I've seen him kind of allude to this, that you don't really need to do overhead pressing. If you do plenty of like incline pressing, maybe some flat bench, and you do your lateral raises and rear delts, you don't need to do any overhead pressing. I ran that experiment, okay, when I was about 23, 24 years old, and very quickly, my shoulders, which were popping, started to look less and less powerful. I saw it in real time. I did my incline press, I did my dips, okay? I did my lateral raises, my rear delts, but my shoulders were lacking. So with the shoulder press, you are hitting your front delt very hard, and you will get some medial delt activation. But the benefit of the shoulder press is that because you're not working your chest, you're gonna induce more growth to the shoulders. As well, you can only get so strong on lateral raises, okay? You're not gonna be doing lateral raises with 70 pounds, okay? Whereas with the shoulder press, you can work your way up from lifting 40 pounds to 80 pounds to 100 pounds and plus. So you need to pick a movement that you can get very, very strong on, okay? So for the shoulders, if you don't have a movement you can get super strong on, it's gonna be hard to maximize that muscle group, okay? So on your chest, you can get very strong on bench or incline. On your back, you can get very strong on a weighted pull up or a pull down. On your shoulders, you can't get crazy strong on doing this, right? So if you really want to build an amazing physique, you got to get very strong on key lifts for key muscle groups, okay? When my physique transformed, I simplified the lens to this. I want to get stronger on key lifts in the 5 to 10 rep range, okay? So weighted chin up, incline press, overhead press, Bulgarian split squat, Romanian deadlift. The stronger I get on these key lifts, the better my physique looks. I can spend 2 hours in the gym 5 days a week, but if I'm not improving, my physique won't improve. I can be in the gym twice a week, but if my key lifts are getting stronger in the 5 to 10 rep range, my physique will look better. And this is the formula. It's strength to weight ratio. Now I say 5 to 10 reps because that's the sweet spot. Doing 1 rep maxes is not ideal for hypertrophy, and it's very, very hard to add serious weight to the bar if you're doing 15, 20 reps, okay? You're doing more muscular endurance. If you wanna get strong, 5 to 10 reps, the sweet spot, okay? So you need to have a movement that's gonna build the shoulders. Don't just take my word as the voice of God. Test it, run that experiment. Do 4 months, no shoulder pressing. Take a photo, do a DEXA. I've done DEXA scans. And then if you do a DEXA scan, you can see your arm, right? The arm includes the shoulder. You can see the muscle mass in the arm. The muscle mass in the arm went down when I didn't do shoulder pressing for several months. And your shoulders have so much room for growth. More than your tricep, more than your lats, more than your chest. So not doing overhead pressing is a fatal mistake. Of course, if you're on high amounts of anabolic steroids and your body is pumping with super physiological levels of testosterone, and we have all these androgen receptors in the shoulders, then yeah, maybe you can just build big shoulders without overhead pressing. Natural, I haven't seen it. I was with Will Tenney working out a few weeks ago, and he's got a video that he'll probably post at some point. He brought that up, and I said, run the experiment. It didn't work for me. So if you really want to have amazing shoulders, you must overhead press. I'm throwing this out there. Tell Mike, watch this part of the video. I want to see what he says, okay? You have to have an exercise you can get strong on for a given muscle group. I love lateral raises. I do them rest pause style. They've helped tremendously, okay? But the formula is get strong on overhead press and do your freaking laterals and your rear delts. And my favorite physiques, right, are guys that have square, masculine, solid chest and their shoulders pop. If you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, look at his physique. Bullshit. Big fucking chest, which are kind of like boobs, right? If you look at like the shape of a huge chest, smaller shoulders, it's like a girl with big boobs. Whereas like if you look at the superheroes, the action figures, square chest, it's the shoulders that pop. It creates more of a masculine appeal. And the only way to really create that look naturally, unless you just have some insane genetics, is yes, do your incline and do some flat, medium grip or some dips, but you gotta do that overhead. Now, the 6th point is that Mike wanted me to go lower on my movements. Now, in the Bruce Wayne video, I was showing my heavy set, right? My heavy set for 5-6 reps. On the heavy set for incline dumbbell, incline shoulder press, I find that you can get very, very strong if you make the range right to about ear level and up. It's more of a consistent strength curve right here. You're gonna be a little bit weaker coming right there, and you're gonna sacrifice the ability to maximize strength if you come all the way down. So my first heavy set, I come here. I break parallel on incline dumbbell, on shoulder. On my second set, where I'll drop the weight about 15%, I'll come deeper and I'll get more of that stretch. But most people in fitness right now are having a circle jerk around stretch mediated hypertrophy, and it's completely and absolutely blown out of proportion. If you dig into the meta-analysis on stretch mediated hypertrophy, in order to get an additional growth, you're looking at doing 30 minutes of weighted stretching, okay? That means you're spending 30 minutes in a weighted stretch position. No one's doing that, and even doing that had little to no benefit. So Mike's training really emphasizes the stretch, but the current research doesn't back this. Most of the results show no enhanced gains. In fact, there's a review, Physiology of Stretch-Mediated Hypertrophy and Strength Increases, and narrative review. And so you have to do an insane amount of weighted stretches to make a difference. My recommendation is don't go crazy about the stretch mediated hypertrophy, okay? Go heavy on your first set, and if on your lighter set you wanna go a little bit deeper, go for that. But acting like just this magic is gonna happen just by really going in here, it's completely and absolutely blown out of proportion. Just get strong on your key lifts with solid form, okay? Taking some weights and doing this, is it gonna make a huge difference? Probably not, okay? Anything that impairs your ability to get very, very strong is gonna be a net negative, okay? And anything that's gonna get you injured is gonna be a huge net negative. So on a very heavy set, I feel more comfortable coming here. If I'm going really heavy and I come all the way down, that might be a higher risk of injury. But on a lighter set, it's okay, okay? But in any case, I do challenge Dr. Mike on his overvaluation of stretch-mediated hypertrophy. And that brings me to my 7th point, which was my tricep, right? I was doing incline dumbbell triceps, okay? Like this. Now, he doesn't like that movement because you can't go crazy deep because the dumbbells will kind of hit you in the face or shoulder, okay? You can't really get fully deep. Now, I've played around with different tricep movements, and the ones I keep coming back to are an overhead tricep. It works so well for me, and the incline dumbbell. I used to do a lot of skull crushers, which worked amazing, but I'd always get elbow pain. The push down's fine. I love doing the push down. I just don't seem to get the same results and growth from it. So just like stretch-mediated hypertrophy is blown out of proportion, there is some research showing that doing partials on triceps produce more muscle growth than doing the full range of motion. And funny enough, this is in experienced lifters. So experienced lifters, Dr. Mike would classify as that, may actually get better results doing a partial than doing a super full range of motion. So in this 2019 study, it showed that a partial rep tricep exercise is more effective for increasing the size of the muscle than full range. This one had 2 groups of men. One group did the full range, the other group did a partial rep tricep movement, and the cross-sectional area of the muscle was significantly greater with the partial rep group compared to the full range group. And the researchers claim this to be especially effective for experienced lifters. So the irony is that Mike would benefit very, very much from doing the exercise that he hated on. Now, the 8th point is that he doesn't agree on my stance about the 10 to 15% body fat range being ideal to maximize testosterone. He uses 10 to 20%, okay? Now the challenge is that being over 15% body fat, one, it's not optimal for health. If you had to choose between 18%, 12%, what's gonna be better for health? Absolutely 12%, okay? When your body fat increases above 15% body fat, a few bad things happen, one of which is you produce more estrogen. And the second one is that if you're gaining body fat, right, above 15% body fat, you're more likely to create new fat cells. Get out of this 15 to 20% body fat range is bullshit. Anyone that joins my program that follows me, the very first thing we must do above everything else is get you below 15% body fat, okay? If you're 25%, we gotta do some serious work, but 17, 18% is pish posh, okay? Most people that hit the gym that are 24 years old are walking around at 18% body fat. Getting below 15%, you enter the category known as lean. And so you want to get lean. I'm not talking about getting to 6% body fat, okay? I'm not talking like looking like a movie star. Just get lean, okay? You will function better at 15% than at 20%. Now, maybe you're having a hard time cutting and you're 20% body fat. We can fix this, right? There's simple strategies you can use to make creating calorie deficit much more enjoyable, okay? Every single person I've coached that were like struggling, I'm always hungry on a diet, I struggle, I coax them there. There's strategies you can use to coax them there, okay? You wanna get to 15% body fat, and that's the bare standard. That's the lowest standard if you come into my world of movie star body, Kinobody, the lowest standard. Anything above that is pish posh. And anyone that's coaching fitness and coaching health that's above 15% body fat, what are you doing? You can't even coach yourself. Mike, I wanna see a DEXA, okay? Because we can pontificate about what all this stuff means, but we need to be able to apply it to ourselves. And one of the reasons I've been able to coach people so successfully to being lean is because I learn stuff. When I cut body fat, I get very, very lean, I learn things. Every time I'm staying lean, I learn stuff. I discover things. If I just let myself sit at 17% body fat, I'm not learning anything. And when I say learn something, I'm talking about the mind, right? Because you can have the perfect diet on paper. If this worked, everyone would be in shape. It's a mental battle, okay? It's a mindset battle. It's what I said earlier. The game that we're really in with health and fitness is behavioral change. How do we change people's behavior? How do you get people to lift weights? And this is what the scientific evidence-based community will never give me credit for, but nobody had a bigger impact. Name one person in the evidence-based community that had a bigger impact, that's had more people transform. We've had 400,000 plus people come through a program and transform, giving them a new format. This is a new format. You're not in the gym 7 days a week. You're not having to cut out carbs. You're not having to, use MyFitnessPal and track this. You lift the weights 3 days a week. We get strong on key lifts. This gets the dopamine going every single time someone comes in the gym. It's a video game. My youngest brother is now getting jacked. It's a video game. We're adding a rep. We're improving our character strength. We're not just going in there to hit 15 sets of leg extensions, and we're going in there to hit the PR. Mike's 9th objection is that if you already have healthy levels of testosterone, taking a natural supplement is not gonna increase that. Now, I actually thought this as well. This is what I thought, and this is what some of the research that I looked at seemed to point. And I started coming across a guy named Dr. Huberman. And Dr. Huberman said some really, really wild stuff, okay? I've watched some videos a few years ago. He's talking about Tonga Ali increasing T levels 200 points. That's crazy stuff, right? And I started to play around with different ingredients, right? Zinc, magnesium, boron. Those are 3 minerals that are very imperative, right, for testosterone production. Forskolite, I really like. Tonga Ali. These ingredients support your body's ability to produce total testosterone, but really the most important thing is free testosterone. All the benefits that we think of with strength, muscle, deeper voice, energy, drive, ambition, libido are really about free testosterone. And I've seen a lot of people these days that got their total levels, they were 600, 700, and then you look under the hood and guess what? Their free T isn't that high. 8 nanograms per deciliter, 7, that's pish posh, okay? So a lot of these ingredients like Tonga Ali, boron, zinc, help your body increase free testosterone. Now, in any case, the average male these days, even the ones that work out, if you go back to the 80s, the average young man was 700. Now the average young man is lucky to be 500, okay? So the point is that all of us already have the brakes on our T production. None of us are able to naturally express our highest level of testosterone, okay? Because we have so many different estrogens in our environment that we're exposed to every single day. It's very hard to avoid. We live in a world that creates this chronic level of stress that makes it harder to produce testosterone. Many people are eating worse food, more oils, more grains, less lean meats, less fruits. And a lot of us are taking pharmaceuticals that can also put the brakes on your T production. So for many reasons, our T levels are not maximized. Even if you do everything right, you work out, you get good sleep, you eat a nutritious diet, we still have the brakes on our T production. So if you want to actually experience and get to where you can be, then there are key ingredients that can support you. And I've been blown away with the results that we've experienced. I've had many people. I told them, before you take Mojo, do your before, do your after. The results we're getting on the Mojo are crazy. We had a guy named Bridger, he tripled his free T on Mojo. That's an extreme outlier, right? But we're seeing time and time again, people going on and increasing their free testosterone 20, 30%. Do your free T. You wanna look at your free T, okay? Because you can also have 600 total, and you might be like, oh, that's pretty good, but you could have 18, 20 nanograms per deciliter free T. That's what we're looking for, right? And so for free T, these things work very well. But Dr. Mike had some good points, and he really stressed the importance of balanced macronutrients macronutrients for testosterone expression. I had a lot of disdain for the fitness industry for demonizing either carbs or demonizing fat and always trying to blame a macronutrient for obesity. And the reality is to have hormonal balance and to feel your best, cutting out carbs or cutting out fat or restricting it to the bare minimum is a terrible, terrible idea. So in summary, Dr. Mike is very well respected in the exercise science department. There's some contradictions and things I don't necessarily agree with, but overall he's very respected. His video was entertaining. It was a good video and he didn't really go that hard on me. There's a few nuances that we disagree on, but overall I think we have a lot in common. And you know, my advice is, my system shows people a new format to transform. Get strong on the key lifts. Work out 3 days a week. Do your fast. Hit your calories, hit your protein. I'm giving people a new format, okay? Who else is giving people a new format? And so for all the people that felt disenfranchised, that have jobs and families and things going on, that are just spinning the wheels, why do I need to work out this much? Here's a format that's produced insane transformations. Skinny fat to movie star. Bulky to movie star, overweight to movie star. We've transformed thousands of people into movie star shape. And it's a system that enriches your life. It is so fun to follow. And now we're seeing men that have increased their testosterone significantly, increased their free T 50% and above. So we're seeing amazing results, people transforming into movie star shape and optimizing their T levels naturally. So this is epic. Put it to the test and see for yourself. And the one thing I've been noticing time and time again is someone will find Kinobody. They'll do movie star, they'll do Greek God, they'll do X, Y, and Z. They'll get great results and then they want to go and train 5 days a week, try another system. They always come back to Kinobody. They always come back and they're like, I cannot beat these gains. I get stronger, I get leaner. And it's one thing to get stronger when you're in a surplus. We're having people getting strong while getting very lean and then staying very lean, which is a completely different battle. And if you do too much volume, it's hard to preserve and build strength and muscle when you're staying very, very lean. So this system is beautiful. If there was a way I could make it better, you think I wouldn't? I've tried to. And I just keep coming back to the purest form of the movie star system. And exciting news, very soon we'll have the app that will be live. We're uploading it to Apple any day now. It could be out right now. So stay tuned because this movement is gonna get a hell of a lot bigger than ever.